This is placeholder media that you'll see if you add a layout to an empty scene. You can go ahead and delete it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Going to Be Okay. I'm Nicky Asher-Bowling, the host of this podcast, and today we're diving into something that often hides in plain sight: high functioning depression. So the person who seems to have it all together, checking off those boxes, showing up for work, keeping the house running, smiling in public. But behind closed doors, they're exhausted, empty, and struggling just to keep going. And in this episode, we'll uncover what it really means to live with high functioning depression, why so many people suffer in silence, and most importantly, practical steps you can take to start moving from just surviving to truly living. So, welcome back to another episode. I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope that this episode resonates with you today. Have you ever turned the news on, opened up your Facebook app, and there was a news article about a mom who killed her family, murdered her kids, and then killed herself? And you talk to family, you talk to coworkers, and they're shocked because they're like, she came to work every day, seemed fine. This is someone that was struggling with high functioning depression. And it is happening more and more every day. And so we're going to talk about this and the signs and to recognize those signs. And if you are someone who is struggling with these symptoms, then you need to reach out for help because this is serious. Remind you that if you're watching on YouTube, please comment and subscribe. And if you're on, it's going to be okay. So today's scripture is: people judge by outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7, the New Living Translation. God sees through the mask. He knows the real you and loves you deeply, no matter what you are feeling inside. So today's episode: high functioning depression, signs, struggles, and steps toward healing. So there are documented mental health facts on the high functioning depression. We have on the background the term high functioning depression. It isn't an official DSM-5 diagnosis, but it's often linked to persistent depressive disorder, which they usually call PDD. And people with PDD often experience chronic low mood lasting at least 2 years. They appear outwardly successful or put together. So they're not like a manic depressive. Manic depressive is someone who can't get out of bed, they can't get dressed. Depressive, which a lot of us have seen people with that disorder where they can't get out of bed, someone's and that has a manic depressive disorder, they look sad, they look depressed, their outward appearance is not good, they can't take care of themselves. But someone who has a low mood depression, they can get up, they can take care of themselves, they go to work every day, they make it on time, but it's just a chronic low mood depression. They struggle, but they persevere, they get through it. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, about 1.5% of US adults experience PDD each year. So that is about 3.3 million people. 1.5%, that seems like a low number, but it's still a lot of people. And because symptoms can be subtle and masked, the actual number may be higher because these people are not complaining, they're not telling a doctor about their issues, they're to the doctor, they're not even telling their family members about it. They're often overlooked because they're high functioning. They have constant fatigue or low energy despite appearing productive. They have loss of joy even in achievement. So even if they appear successful, they may have gotten a promotion or they may gotten a new house or may have just had a new baby. There's no joy in those events. They have difficulty maintaining relationships because of the emotional withdrawal, a sense of going through the motions rather than truly living. So they know what to do, so they continue to do it, but there's no joy in the actual events of doing it. There's irritability or perfectionism, and these are used as coping mechanisms. Masking behaviors, so overachievement at work or school to hide inner struggles. People pleasing to avoid rejection or scrutiny. Social masking, so appearing cheerful and outgoing in public, but once they get home, they collapse. They may just cry or they may yell. The risk in this behavior is because high functioning individuals are often meeting expectations, their depression may go untreated for longer. Studies show they are at greater risk of burnout, substance misuse, and suicidal ideation since their struggles are often invisible. Stigma factors. Research in the Journal of Affective Disorders notes that people with high functioning depression are less likely to seek help. This is due to shame, fear of losing credibility, or the belief that they should be able to handle it on their own because they've never asked for help in the past, because they've always gotten it done, because they've gotten that promotion, then they should be able to get through this situation too. What are some things that people that are suffering or living with high functioning depression, what can they do to improve their lives? Do you know someone or are you someone that is suffering from this? If you know someone, do you have them pulled up in your mind? Can you think of that? So, the first thing you can do is seek professional support, therapy. Therapy would be cognitive behavior therapy. This challenges negative thought patterns that keep people trapped. Your mind says there's no, and that's with manic depressive too. So you have to practice getting out of that negative thought pattern. And then, of course, there's medications for eyes, SNRIs, and these are commonly prescribed when symptoms are persistent, and even mild improvements in brain chemistry can help lift the emotional fog. And medications, you don't have to take them forever, which was something that I thought you had to when I was first diagnosed a long time ago. I was told that I would always have to be on this medicine, the medicine that I was on some kind of medication. And I learned that you don't have to. And then there's also coaching alongside therapy. Having accountability and structure helps people move from functioning to living with purpose. So that's number one. Number two, you can build realistic routines. Like I mentioned earlier, that a lot of people that have PDD, persistent depressive disorder, uses perfectionism as a coping mechanism. Okay. Keep that in mind. So, number two, build realistic routines. So, they use perfectionism as a coping mechanism, which is unrealistic goals and routine. So, what you work on is create small, achievable goals instead of overwhelming to do lists. Consistencies in sleep, meals, and daily rhythms stabilizes your moods. So, for example, instead of a 60-minute workout, I'll work for 10 minutes. I'll walk for 10 minutes today. Okay. Instead of I'll clean the entire house this Saturday, how about I clean my living room this Saturday? When I was younger and my kids were younger, I had unrealistic routines because I was a stay at home mom before I was divorced. I felt that was my job. So I had all the time in the world. But however, I didn't take into account that I have 3 boys and they always took up all my time. You know how kids are. So I never accounted for the things that they would get into or something would happen with them. And so I would take care of them. I would take care of them and then I would stay up into the middle of the night cleaning my house because I had made up my mind that I was going to do that day. I could have just done it the next day. Anyway, okay, moving on. So number 3, prioritize self-care. This is beyond just having a bubble bath, okay? Nutrition, regular balanced meals to support energy and brain health. I've said this before. My ex-husband said, if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody else. Nutrition, so regular balanced meals to support energy and brain health. Movement, so exercising, yoga, stretching, and walking. These have been shown to increase serotonin and reduce depressive symptoms. So I've talked about these types of exercises for a long time. And then resting. I believe in getting your rest. Trust me, I do believe in getting your rest. So you schedule your downtime. Even if you're functioning, your body needs recovery. Okay. So I know Jordan Peterson, he talks about even if you don't go to bed at the same time, you should always wake up at the same time. So I've always gotten that backwards. I've always went to bed. I always thought I had to go to bed at the same time. But then I'd always sleep in late one day and get up early one day. So I've always tried, or I felt like you had to do the same, go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time. I could never get that stuff straight. So now I try to get up at the same time every day. And that is having a consistent morning routine, which I'm not a morning person. Still not a morning person, but I'm trying to do better because the person I live with is a morning person. And that's hard. That's hard to deal with. So, number 4, break the masking cycle. So, what you got to do is practice authenticity. So, share small truths with trusted people instead of pretending all is fine. So, you want to have at least one person in your life that you can trust, right? If not, go find a stranger on the street and talk to them. Strangers will talk to me. I could be sitting in a waiting room or in a line buying something and someone would spill their guts to me. I don't know what it is, but I just stand there and listen to them because obviously they've got to get that off their chest right then and there. And sometimes I'm like, you shouldn't be telling anybody this, but they had to get it off their chest. So you got to find somebody to talk to. It's very important to tell somebody this stuff. If you can't find anybody to talk to, you need to reach out to me. So I've been offering a free coaching session, free sessions. And I have one client, she's finished her sessions and she gave me a great review. I have another client I'm still coaching. So she loves me. Anyway, moving on. Journaling, write out your emotions you don't feel comfortable saying aloud. So, yeah, write them out. Journaling is a great space to write out your feelings or do a brain dump. If you don't know what to say in sentences, just write words down like mad, aggravated, frustrated, confused. Those are great that's a great way to start. And then permission to pause. Allow yourself to not be productive all the time. Yeah. So that's something I didn't know I could do. I did not know I could give myself permission to pause when I was younger, when I was a young mom, especially as stay-at-home mom. I didn't know that I could give myself a break because I didn't have a job. I had a job. I was working full-time from home, taking care of 3 young boys and being a wife and a housekeeper. My job never stopped. So I forgot to turn that fan off. You're allowed to give yourself a break. You're allowed to give yourself grace. You need to do that because, like I said, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. And if you're a parent, you have people that you're responsible for, they're relying on you. And if you're not healthy and you flake out, they don't got anybody else. If you're the only one there, get a grip, take care of yourself. And number 5, strengthen social connection. So depression thrives in isolation. Yeah, so when you're being depressed, you don't wanna be around other people. So yeah, you need to find your tribe. You need to find your group. And the best thing I did was I didn't know it at the time was I joined a book club, and I've been with this group for a long time now. I love these ladies. And then now I have my mom and my sisters, and I have I started going to church a couple of years ago, and then I have a group from there that I can rely on, and then I have my coach that I've had for the past 5 years. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to find 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, 4 person. You gotta find these people and then build on that. If you can't find someone to be there for you, then you be there for somebody else, and then that person will end up being there for you. You nurture 1 or 2 safe relationships rather than spreading yourself thin. Support groups, online or local, help normalize the struggle and reduce shame. You have to get in get some help. So, if you can't find anybody, then you talk to a therapist and ask, "Hey, is there a group that I can join? Or is there an online" Facebook has all kinds of groups. Find a Facebook group and join that, and then if you're struggling, you could just go on there and say, "I'm struggling," and they will help encourage you. So then you develop your mind body awareness, mindfulness, meditation. So this helps catch your spiraling thoughts before they take over. So mindfulness is such a great technique. So one of my coaching clients, she's working with her therapist, and her therapist encouraged her to look at mindfulness, being mindful. And that is such a great training opportunity for yourself because if you're someone who's having trouble focusing, you can practice mindfulness and it will help you focus in and take control of your thoughts. I like to use the scripture from Philippians. I've used it before. It's one of my foundational scriptures that I use because when I was struggling with negativity and horrible thoughts in my head, I was like, how do I change from being angry? And how do I change from having hateful thoughts and being mean? I was listening to something, they were talking about the scripture, and it was from Paul. And he says, finally, it's Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely. whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. So, if you're having trouble controlling your thoughts, read that scripture every day. Say it out loud. And when you have a negative thought, say that scripture out loud and then think about one of those things. Think about something that's right in your life. Think about something that's righteous. Think about something that's true. Think about something that's lovely. And your thought process will start changing. It's amazing. It helped me so much. I went from, someone that was crying about stuff all the time and worrying about the future and crying about the past to thinking about the positive things in my life that were going on because I had a lot of positive stuff happening. And, but I would never focus on those things. I always focused on what coulda, woulda, shoulda instead of focusing what was happening right in front of me. So I would definitely, that mindfulness meditation, it does help. So the other one is breathing techniques. So I hadn't heard this one. I've done breathing techniques, but one of my coworkers, she was telling me about the box breathing. So I've been practicing that. If you haven't practiced that, you should that one works. So when you're getting ramped up, you should practice that one. Body scans. This one, it notice tension that signals emotional strains. You just so when you're in a very tension, high stress situation, there's certain parts of your body that you'll hold tight. Like, I always do bunch up my shoulders or bunch up my neck, just when you're holding anxiety when you're doing that. So, it just says, just notice yourself and be aware, "Oh, I'm holding that tight," or I was gonna say something that probably wasn't appropriate, so we'll just move on. Okay, so then number 7, so challenge your perfectionism and your negative self-talk. So now this takes practice because first of all, you gotta recognize you're doing it, and then before you say it, flip it around. You gotta flip that script, as my coach would say. So you will replace, "I should be fine." So if someone says, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'll be fine." And say instead say, "It's okay that I'm struggling." So you practice self-compassion, speak to yourself the way you would to a close friend. So how you treat others is how you would treat yourself. So if you speak to others with respect, you speak to yourself with respect. You speak to others with generosity, you speak to yourself with generosity. If someone else makes a mistake, you tell them it's okay. Don't worry about it. If you make a mistake, don't belittle yourself. Say, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. So give yourself some grace and practice self compassion. And I know that's hard to do. These are just we went over the signs to look for, and now these are things that you can use to work on. This is a lot. This is a big list. And someone that is just now recognizing, oh my God, I have all these signs. That's a big awareness. You're probably freaking out. What do I do? Flipping your arms around, kicking your legs in the air. Actually, I'm probably the only one doing that. But anyway, so you're going to have to research this and then do one thing at a time. Definitely get some help because if you're really wanting to fix this within you, it's going to take a long time and it's going to take a lot of practice. You want to celebrate small wins, finishing a task, getting out of bed, making a meal, whatever it is that you weren't doing before, but you're doing now. So the last one is number 8. So there's 8 tasks that you can work on. So faith and spiritual practices. So prayer, scripture reading, or attending your church. This can bring grounding and hope. If you don't attend church, that's fine, but I would encourage you to go to a local service because it can help you ground you, get you a foundation going, especially if you're struggling with depression or you don't have anybody that you can talk to. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he rescues those whose spirits are crushed. If you are struggling with this kind of depression, he can help you with that. If you don't want to go to church, you don't have to. Just read the Bible. There's a lot of things in there that can help you with your struggles. Some key takeaways from today's episode: seek support. You can get therapy, medication, or coaching. Create small routines. Start with what feels doable. Break the mask. Practice honesty with yourself and others. Prioritize real self care, not just pampering, not just getting your nails done, not having a bubble bath, but rest, nutrition, and movement. And then stay connected. Don't let shame isolate you. Don't be ashamed to reach out to somebody and talk to them. Okay. So if today's episode has resonated with you, please share it with a friend who might be silently struggling. And if you're ready for guidance and support on your journey, I love to walk alongside you as a coach. You don't have to keep masking your pain. You can start finding hope and healing today. So visit me at my Facebook page at It's Going to Be Okay, and let that be your first step. Of course, you can email me at my email address, which is Nicky Asher-Bowling Coaching at gmail.com, which is NICKYASHERBOWLING at gmail.com. And yes, I could have made it longer, so you're welcome. Okay, so let's see here. One last thing before we go. Just a reminder, if you're watching on YouTube, please comment, like, and subscribe. And a question: do you ever find yourself keeping it all together on the outside while falling apart on the inside? And what's one small step you can take this week to be more honest with yourself or someone you trust? So think about that. I love you guys. I'm praying for you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.